All right, let's jump right into a question that I think everyone has daydreamed about at least once. What do you actually do if you wake up one day and you're suddenly rich?
No, really. Just take a second and picture it. Maybe that one wild investment you made finally pays off big time, or that side hustle you've been grinding on just explodes. Could be an inheritance, or hey, you could just get lucky and win the lottery. For some people, this isn't just a fantasy, it's a real possibility. And that's exactly why you need a plan.
I know, it sounds like the ultimate dream come true. But the crazy thing is that for most people, sudden wealth turns into an absolute disaster. We're talking losing friends, family tearing apart, a kind of stress you just never, ever see coming.
So to really get why this happens, we need to look at a real-life cautionary tale, a story about how fast that dream could just completely fall apart.
So let me introduce you to Jack Whitaker. Back in 2002, he hit what was, at the time, the biggest jackpot ever from a single ticket. And he was anything but quiet about it. The guy was famously generous, giving away millions to churches, to his friends, even to total strangers. He seemed like a great guy, right?
Well, that generosity came with a price tag that was just staggering. In the end, his wife left him, his friends were gone, and his family was struck by tragedy. Those are his own words, and they're just a chilling warning about the dark side of getting rich too fast.
And all of this leads us to the single most important rule if this ever happens to you. And listen, it's not about what you buy. It is 100% about what you do not say.
Your new goal is to become what's known as stealth rich. You got to burn this concept into your brain. See, your number one job is no longer making money. Your new job is privacy. You have to build a wall around yourself to protect you from the world that is, believe me, about to come knocking at your door.
Because the second people know you have money, everything changes. You instantly become a target. For what? Robbery, ridiculous lawsuits, scams, even blackmail. And honestly, maybe the worst part, the people you thought were your friends suddenly start circling you like vultures. They say money changes people, but that's not true. It just reveals who they really were all along.
Okay, so you're keeping your mouth shut. What's the next move? Well, most people think, that's it, I'm quitting my job and I'm moving to a beach. And that is a massive mistake.
Now here's where the strategy gets really interesting. If you hate your job, if it makes you miserable, absolutely, quit tomorrow. But, and this is a huge but, don't quit working. Find something you actually like to do. And for the first 6 months, do everything you can to keep the rest of your life feeling as normal as possible. You need that time to just process everything.
And here's the genius logic behind that. If you're busy with work, guess what you're not doing? You're not sitting around dreaming up ways to spend all that money. Look, being rich and being bored is a recipe for total disaster. It leads to terrible business ideas, risky investments, and just burning through your cash way faster than you can imagine.
All right, you've got a plan for your time. But now we've got to tackle the hardest part of all of this, dealing with your debt and dealing with the people you care about.
Okay, first up, debt. Think of this money as a giant reset button. Your first move is to wipe out every penny of high-interest debt. We're talking credit cards, personal loans, car loans. Think about it. Paying off a credit card with 25% interest is like getting a guaranteed, risk-free 25% return on your money. But for cheap debt, like a 3% mortgage, it might actually be smarter to keep it and invest your cash instead.
And now for the part that really hurts. Let's just be super blunt here. The absolute fastest way to wreck every important relationship in your life is to start lending people money. Just don't do it.
But of course, you're going to want to help people you love. So here's a simple, powerful rule you can follow. If someone genuinely needs your help, give them the money. Don't loan it to them, give it to them. But it comes with one very important condition. They can never, ever ask you for money again. Yeah, it sounds harsh, I know, but it's the only way to protect your friendship and your finances.
So, you've navigated the immediate chaos. Now it is time for the biggest mindset shift of your life. You have to stop thinking like someone who spends money and start thinking like an investor who grows it.
And it all boils down to one simple golden rule of keeping your wealth. You never, ever spend the principal. You only live off the income that your principal creates.
I love this analogy. Think of it like this. Your new fortune is not a pile of firewood that you just burn for warmth until it's all gone. No, it is a money tree, and your job is to plant it, to take care of it, and then live off the fruit that it produces year after year, forever.
So, thinking about that money tree, that brings up a really important and personal question you have to ask yourself. What is your freedom figure? How big does that money tree actually need to be?
And believe it or not, there's a really simple formula to figure this out. Just decide on the yearly income you need to live your ideal life, and then multiply that number by 25. This is based on what's called a safe 4% withdrawal rate.
So, let's look at an example. If you want to live really comfortably on, say, $200,000 a year, you don't actually need $200,000. What you need is to invest $5 million. That $5 million, that's your principal. That's your money tree. And it's what's going to generate your income for the rest of your life.
Okay, so let's run with that. Let's say you've got your $5 million freedom figure. How in the world do you invest it to actually produce that income? Let's walk through just one possible way to do it.
Now, at this point in the game, you're playing for wealth preservation, not just crazy growth. So diversification is everything. Out of the $4.5 million we're investing, a balanced portfolio might look something like this, putting about 22% each into stocks, bonds, real estate, and high-yield savings, and then maybe putting the last 11% into something a little more speculative, like some blue-chip crypto.
And what's so cool about this is seeing how all these different pieces work together. If you look at historical averages, this kind of setup could spit out over $300,000 a year in passive income. And if you've been paying close attention, you probably noticed this only adds up to $4.5 million. So what about the other $500 grand? Well, that's your fun money. Go buy something nice.
Because when you get right down to it, this was never about fancy cars or giant houses. That's what people who go broke think wealth is. Real wealth, true wealth, is something so much more valuable than that. It's freedom. It's the ability to wake up in the morning and have total control over your own time.
And that really brings us to the final, most important takeaway. The people who get rich and stay rich are the ones who use their money not to buy things, but to buy back their time. So now you have the playbook. The real question isn't what would you buy, it's what would you buy back.